Welcome everyone for another video, and this time we have a support game played by Ray, one of the best support in the game, and it's on the Argus. And as usual, we're going to start with the build order and the items selected for that game. Build order, we start with the Dreadnought. We want to have the stun, and then we go into the Ether Crystal, trying to get like a good combo for the level 2 transition. Then we finish with the Particle Shredder, and then we start maxing the Dreadnought. In terms of abilities priority, we're looking at the Synaptic Obliterator, of course the ultimate, but then it's the Dreadnought. Really want to reduce the cooldown on that ability, increase the damage and also like the duration. And then we get also like the Ether Crystal Seconds. That's basically the two abilities you want as a support. Particle Shredder, mainly only damage, but as a support you cannot really like trade damage with it, so it's kind of like a dead ability, so that's why like it's maxed last. In terms of items, on the crest we have got the Silencium, trying to get like additional CC in the backline to be able to counter like divers and maybe like survive himself a little bit more. We get like the Time Warp first, very good ability for Argus, because basically what you want on Argus, it's like mana regeneration and ability Ace to be able to spam your abilities. Then we got the Dynamo that pairs very well with the Dreadnought. This idea that you can like combo people, Dreadnought, Ether Crystal, Synaptic Obliterator that increase your own damage. Tented Scepter, one of the best like anti-heal solution for support when it comes, because ability Ace, the burst damage added is actually pretty good. And then here I've added a tier 2 item, the Polar Thread. I don't know if Ray was going for the full Galaxy Greave, the game like finished before, but that's also something we have seen Ray doing in multiple game. He just go for Polar Thread for the 8% out of combat movement speed on support, which helps with the rotation time. And so that's something I wanted to highlight there. Let's jump into the game. So we have Ray on Argus. Like I said, Ray, one of the top support in the game, if not arguably the number one. And here we're playing Argus against like a Bellica Drongo lane, so we do have to be a little bit careful. But as you can see here, he doesn't go immediately for a stun and just like try to poke at long range. And even if he lands the stun, he understands that if he steps forward, he's gonna receive like damage from the Bellica, damage from the Drongo as well, so it would have been like risky for him. So here you just go for the stun and let like potentially scary does some damage. But this is where like as a support you have to look for your opportunities, but you also have like to not overcome it for them, because at higher level, like yeah, you land the stun, but then like people will counter attack you. So here we're waiting for the level 2, and here we're looking for a little bit of aggression, but since they get the level 2 themselves, then we back out. So we try to take advantage of the early level transition. You see the positioning of Ray like being like kind of aggressive. As soon as you get the level 2, you try to go for it. Here we get the stun after the thing, but as you can see here, he doesn't keep stepping forward, because now that he's like the target of both the Drongo and the Bellica, he stepped back to kind of force the enemy team like to kind of no focus more on the Grims, to try to share the damage being taken. And as you can see, as a result, the Bellica took a lot more damage and the trade was beneficial. Really, like on the dual lane, it's all about like getting like beneficial trade, a little bit like in the off lane, but it's a little bit more complicated. And here we try to be aggressive, we go for a lot of damage. That's gonna force like the flash immediately. And I also like want you to notice here, like previously he has gone for the stun into the pillar, but here in that situation he go for the pillar into the stun. It's also like important to kind of try to change. And here we're gonna get like the flash in, we're gonna use like the flash as well. I think here we try to put like the Serat under tower with the flash after the Serat was using the Heaven's Fury on himself, and we're gonna disengage. So unfortunately, like all the advantage that has been built up by Ray and Zane in that lane with the Argus and the Grim has been nullified, because like Flame Poiken on the Serat jungle has come to defend. But still, because it's important that they didn't die on a gank, which means that on the rest of the map, look, the gank could be successful somewhere else. And so here we're looking like to fight, we're gonna get like a little bit aggressive, we get the flash out of the Bellica, so that means that Zane like flash in to secure the kill, and in the end it's a 2-for-1. So unfortunately here, I think like we see the opportunity for a trade, but he doesn't have flash, while the Bellica still has flash, which ended up being like a little bit too costly. But one of the important things here was also like to try to break the freeze. Otherwise, like the wave could have been like stuck in that position with the Serat being potentially around still while they were low HP. So at least that's something that is good, because they crash back the wave and so we don't lose too much. But still, a 2-for-1 trade, despite like the early game being like to their advantage, but then like a rotation of the jungler can kind of shift things around, and then they go for a little bit too of an aggressive trade that ended up resulting in a 2-for-1. So I think like everyone's flash is done now on that dual lane, so that changed a little bit the perspective of the trade. So this is something you have to take into account, like is flash up or not, and so that means like you can commit or not commit too much. So here we know that we have the ward, so we're just like walking around. They probably have full information on it. As we can see, there is the ward. We try to go for the displacement blast, and here we go for like the Aether Crystal first, and the Grim like simply like dominating the trade by himself. We still like, as soon as you see that they're like stepping up on the Grim, you see that Ray is stepping up, and here he's looking like for the stun. A little thing that you can also see like Ray doing is he kind of places himself diagonally for the stun. Diagonally for this type of ability is like the best way, because if you're like fully perpendicular to them, then like it's very easy to just like do a step up or a step back to counter it. And if you're like fully aligned like parallel to them, like it's also like very easy to do a step on the right or the left to dodge the ability. While you're in diagonal, it's like slightly harder to dodge like the abilities, and that's what like Ray, like as you can see, like he was approaching this jungle, he wait for the right timing. Also, he wait for the moment that the jungle has less opportunity to be able to dodge, and then he go for it from a diagonal stance. But that's how you can like actually secure your stun when you have the opportunity to not have to send it like immediately, and that secure the kill on the jungle. Good rotation also on the jungler on the Dusk side, because like we said, dual lane doesn't have any flash available, so they just pretty easy to pick up. And also like previous like to the ultimate, because as soon as jungle get the ultimate, it becomes like very hard to gank and kill in one attack, because like it's just like the shrapnel cannon like creates so much space that it's very difficult to lock down a jungle that have his ultimate up. So also every time we come back to lane, you can see that Trey is walking through the jungle, and the main reason is, well, you're not as a carry that needs to get like every single last hit, so it's not like as important to you to go like immediately on the lane, and that way that keeps your option open, like should I rotate towards mid, should I go back to my dual lane. Here he decided to rotate for the river buff, which means that Flame Poke can take the advantage to go like for a gank, and maybe Zen is gonna end up dying. Here, I think Zen thought he was safe in the 1v2, but didn't take into consideration that Flame Poken could be around. And that's something also, like as a support, sometimes you have to be careful and kind of look at how your carry is playing. Because here, like Ray rotating when the wave is pushing back is completely correct. Like it's not a bad timing to rotate to mid lane. But sometimes you also have like to pay attention to what your carry is doing. And here, I love what Ray is doing. He try like to give the impression he wants to freeze, to force the enemy team to engage on them, so then like the Feng Mao was around, and then like they can take advantage of it to be able to be aggressive. Here they're gonna try to follow up. Feng Mao get also another kill. We try to go on to Flame Poken. Flame Poken is gonna secure the kill, but in the end it's a 3-4-1. And this 3-4-1, of course, there is a big portion of it that it's thanks to the Feng Mao that play like that beautifully. But also it all been created initially by Ray that understand what how to abuse like the enemy team. Here the enemy team wanted to crash the wave, because that's what we do. We crash the wave to get like a free reset, and so Ray gonna try to freeze, but he cannot really freeze. But what he was doing, he was baiting the enemy team at working forward. And here another thing I really like, you can see like here he go immediately for Aether Crystal into the Dread Nova, so the Aether Crystal to surprise. Like that's one thing that is very important to do as a support, is like support have very good CC, but they're most of the time very telegraphed and very easy to dodge. And so it's important to kind of like surprise people so they don't have like the good reaction. And that's exactly what Ray is doing here. With the Aether Crystal, it goes up. The Fae wasn't expecting that the Argus can do a play like that. And as soon as the Dread Nova is triggered, he go immediately for the ultimate, the Synaptic Obliterator, to try to get like as much damage as fast as he can and keep the slow going, so that maybe he's on me later, the Gideon can like follow up and get the kill. In the end, we only get the flash of the Fae, but not this Fae doesn't have flash, which means should be like easier for the Gideon to secure a kill, because now the Fae cannot get out of the black hole. Then we come back to the dual lane. Naturally, like we don't want to stand too long in ganking like mid lane or stuff. We want to kind of keep being elusive. Here the enemy team is going like for the gold buff, but we're not gonna have any chance at contesting. Like contesting gold buff when we're not on top of it immediately becomes like increasingly difficult as the game progresses. And so here we're just like playing it a little bit slow. We kept like 2 more range minions, so. And here we're looking at maybe like some aggression. Gonna try like to steal like some buff, but we're gonna get like poked by the Beleka. That's something that we have to respect. Here it was just like trying to be a nuisance, but in the end we took like quite a lot of poke. And in terms of itemization, as we can see, we started with a time warp, which allow to get like pretty good like mana regeneration that allow you to spam your abilities, and still like excellent like cooldown reduction overall, which is mainly what you want on an enchanter support that doesn't heal. And we're maxing the Dread Nova first because we want to increase like the damage of the Dread Nova, but also like reduces cooldown to have it like more uptime on it, and also like the CC duration. So here we try to rotate, Bila does dies, the Gideon, and the enemy team was trying like to go for the Fangtooth, the Beleka as rotate, and we get like the Seismic Assault onto it. But we're still like pretty healthy, so it's a 2v4, but like Grim does a lot of damage. Grim is still pretty healthy. Here we're gonna go for the Synaptic Obliterator to try to poke a little bit easy peasy. Here we see that we try to go for the GTFO onto the Fae. That would maybe have connected with a Dread Nova, but unfortunately it didn't work. And here we're still like trying to bait. We're gonna probably get the kill onto the Fae. We got now the Fangmo that dies. We're gonna try to secure the Serat as well. And here we're trying like to protect the Grim. And as you can see here, Ray kind of offering his life to be able to maybe let the Grim like get away. Unfortunately, the knockback from Displacement Blast is not correct. And that ended up like being like a 3-4-2 trade plus the Fangmo for the enemy team. So overall, a good operation for the downside. They also get like the Gideon before the fight starts, so a 4-4-2. And that just came down to the fact that the downside was like earlier at the Fangtooth, and then they had to fight like from behind, trying to get back like some priority, but it was very tough. And also like a few abilities has been missed. And so that was like the difference between like finding success or getting killed. So far, game pretty even, but you can see out of 8 kills, like Ray is already being part of 6 of them, like 75 kill participation, and kind of show that he has been like pretty active, and a lot of things has been happening on the map. Here you can see like nobody is here on the dual lane, so immediately Ray like look at rotating. Unfortunately, like the rotation cannot be completed. And actually they had stopped like the meeting from doing the Fangtooth earlier, so my mistake. And so here we're still like gonna try to be a nuisance, but as you can see like here we're not going like too fast, like we don't want to fully like expose ourselves. A little bit like here the Grim go like a little bit too deep, so we're still like doing like as much damage as we can. We still like force them like out of the objective, and now we have like the Serat that is the offlaner that rotate to try to be like aggressive, and we're gonna secure the kill with Jaximus coming here. We're gonna try to go for the long range stun, but the explosive flower allow the Beleka to get away. But you can see here it's very important as support. Like many times I see support that just like, hey, they're doing Fangtooth, and then they walk into the pit and they get killed immediately, and they blame their teammate that, hey, my team wasn't there. Well, it's true in a sense your team wasn't there, but like sacrificing yourself and just walking into the pit when your team is not there is not really like helpful. So here you see what Ray is doing. It doesn't go like too fast. It's actually like just like showing presence to make them like DPS the Fangtooth like slowly, because they have like the jungle that was like focusing on Ray, but doesn't expose himself. And when there is the opportunity with teammate, then he tried to make plays, but it's just like here being a nuisance until there is like a play to be made. And if there is no play to be made, well, it's fine, like just like reset and let the enemy team get Fangtooth. It was just like the first Fangtooth, it's not the end of the world. So here once again the Serat finding a good gank into the dual lane. This Serat has been like very present onto that dual lane. To be fair, in the current meta, like Grim is super duper strong, and you don't want Grim to snowball, otherwise it's like game over most of the time. And so here we're gonna try to go for the rotation. We get like some good damage. We arrive like to help. That's gonna be like a kill on the Serat, probably a shutdown as well. And here we're gonna look to maybe like help the Serat. We're gonna use the ultimate at long distance. Here, it's not so much for the damage because the damage wasn't enough to get the kill, I think, even if we land all 3 shots. It's more also about like the slow aspect of the ultimate to let maybe a shot at that Serat to actually come secure that kill. And so now we're going to go for the Fangtus. Finally, the first Fangtus of the game will end up falling at the 15-minute mark, despite the fact that it has been like tried many times. And here we do have the Fae going into the pit, and here we just wait for the abilities to be done. We dodge the E, and then we just like wait to be like in melee range to guarantee that the Dread Nova connects, and that's gonna be like a free pickup. I'm a little bit surprised that here we took the damage from like the Bramble patch. That's normal, but I'm a bit surprised that with the Fae being dead, you still like get the combustion proc damage. But that's something that I learned watching that game. And here we have the Dynamo that is finished. So really, like as you can see, like it's a very like play centric around the Dread Nova. That's mainly what Argus support is doing. And so the Dynamo will allow like having like more damage from your team when the Dread Nova has been like connecting with someone. And so you're really like becoming like kind of a sort of a stun bot. As you can see, like the Particle Shredder is not really like used that much. Here we try like to stop and zone people with the Ether Crystal plus the Dread Nova. And here we're gonna group up with the team. Maybe we're looking at the Mini Prime. As we can see here, it just has been secured by the Feng Mao. And here we're gonna go for the long range stun. And you have seen like Ray is pretty proficient with the long range stun. And sometimes we try like to predict that people were dodging. Here, since the Fae was like turning her back to the Argus, it doesn't like try to like anticipate any movement, because he assumed that if it's like from behind, she probably don't realize that she's going to receive a Dread Nova on the face, and so you don't have to predict any dodge. You just have to predict like the movement that was going to continue. Here we're still like looking, we do get like the river buff. There is like a huge fight going on to the left side, so Ray is trying to make his way in that direction. He's a little bit late to the fight, but still like you have to walk towards there. And you can see like here, oh, he's slightly like hide himself so Dr. Snoop doesn't realize that he was like coming, and that should like secure like an easy pickup for his teammate, because now like this escape route that the Bellica thought she had was actually cut off by Ray. And by the fact that he does that, I think the Bellica was dead anyway, but just by doing that, it makes the fact that we get the kill slightly faster, because I think if the Bellica realized Ray was here, she probably would have walked down towards like the offlane towers. And that would have made like a chase that is a little bit longer, and then like people lose tempo on the map. So those little things, sometimes they are not like that much of a big deal, but they can still create a little bit more tempo, a little bit more faster play, and so it's always good to go for them when you can. So here we're gonna go for the reset. We actually have taken the Silencium as a crest. I think the main reason of the Silencium is maybe to be able to lock down the Sirat when she goes in, or also like to cancel like the Sevrog when you try to go for a Phantom Rush Colossal Blow. If you're fast enough, and Ray is probably fast enough, you can like actually silence him before he get the Colossal Blow out, and that means that suddenly like now this Sevrog is in the middle of the team, and usually like this 1 second of silence, I think it's 1.25 seconds of silence, actually make the difference between being able to secure. But here we're gonna get like immediately the stun on the right target, not the Bellica. You want to get the Serat out, and here we're gonna secure the kill. Now that the Serat is dead, we can like walk forward. We get like also a Synaptic Obliterator to get like some good damage. Dr. Snoop took a lot of damage, gonna be secured, and here I love also that little play, like we try to go with the verticality to get like the Dread Nova out. The Bellica was already dead. Here we try to go for the Explosive Flower right before we get, before the Fae position ourselves correctly. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and here we're gonna like follow the damage. The Fly Trap has been used, but it's not gonna be enough, and we secure like a 4 kills overall. And this is something I kind of like watching Ray doing, is like he understands a little bit better than other people the verticality. We have seen him like use it already like 2 times. One to get like a very nice gank on the Fae in mid lane. I don't know if you remember, through like the River above Fog Wall. And here the same thing, like to get like a better angle for the Dread Nova to try to catch up onto that Bellica if she was starting like to get away. Here we're looking like for some rotation. Ooh, Flame Pokken is around, so we try to go for the stun. Unfortunately, the stun doesn't connect. And so like this Serat is gonna be like out. We try to slow her with the Ether Crystal, but she got the Ascent, Displacement Blast plus Drain Nova. Feng Mao was coming, but Serat is out. And now we get the respawn of the Feng Tooth. At least we forced the Serat like pretty far away from that Feng Tooth. So that should be like a free Feng Tooth for the Dusk side. And to start like getting like pretty ahead into that match. Overall, we have started to get like ahead in terms of kill, like most of the team fight have been won, and now we're also like securing an additional objective. Here we're looking, we try to get like further aggressive play onto the Fae, but as soon as we realize that we miss the Dread Nova, we don't overcommit and we just like disengage. I think here we're looking for a timing to be able to back. I think Ray wants to finish his Tented Scepter, try to be like a little bit of poke at distance. We have the Serat coming. We try to help with the Ether Crystal, as we have seen. Let's throw the Lucidian in the air. We have to be a little bit careful here because we don't have like priority, and here we're gonna get like grabbed by the Seismic Assault. We're trying like to survive as long as we can. We're gonna like TP away here. A little slight mispositioning by the side of Ray, not fully reading the map, but here we're just staying around. The Serat is trying to come. She's gonna get stunned. Here Flame Poken a little bit too aggressive. Use the Ascent, is not stuck into that spot because there is no explosive flower, and Flame Poken is gonna end up dying. So in the end, a pretty nice bait by Ray. Serat kind of become a little bit too telegraphed, going like just straight forward, so the Drain Nova was easy and then we just like space. But there is one thing I kind of like about that play here. Still like Ray is pretty low on HP, but as an enchanter I would say that's the role that you still have the most impact by staying at low HP, because you can stay like pretty far away and still like have very good like utility for your team. As you can see here, Ray, even with a slimmer HP, allow his team to secure the kill on the jungle. And that's like one of the things I see like a lot of enchanters do, like they get low on HP and they just reset back to base. And that's something like with character like Argus, like Decker, it's something you can actually do, is that you're still like very impactful even with 1 HP. Of course, you need to adapt your positioning because you cannot like stay like very close and any like poke will kill you. But still, you can still go for like some impactful plays even if you're low on HP, if you position yourself correctly. And if you position yourself correctly, even if someone like ended up like managing to dive you, that means they probably not are out of position, and so you're trading your low HP support for like probably a high HP target on the enemy team, and so it's also like worth it. So that's something as a support, enchanter support, that we have to keep in mind, is that even low on HP we can still be impactful on the team fight. Of course we have to adapt ourselves, but here we can see like it ended up being like an additional kills and also like a tier 2 tower being secured. So here as you can see, like Ray's like trying to create like some pressure, force to flash away here because like the Savrog was coming from behind and immediately react to it. We try to secure like a little bit of a fight here, but that's a little bit too much. The enemy team is a little bit too big, but now we do have the Serat plus the Grim coming from the side, and they do secure the kill onto the enemy Drongo. So all of that was like mainly a distraction that actually like secure like a kill on the enemy carry. And now we're looking at to get like a little bit more aggression. The Serat is kind of popping off. We got a wonderful black hole onto multiple people. Gonna secure like a kill. That's for a kill. The Serat was trying like to split push on the rest of the map, so they took advantage of the 4v4, and now we're looking at actually securing that inhibitor. And also like now the Serat falls down from like the Feng Mao that have come to defend, so everyone is dead, and so that's gonna be the surrender and Argus support dominating a big portion of that match.